Hello and blessings to you. Welcome back. I'm going to try to finish up this little series we're doing here, this free flow scripture, and we've covered too much for me to sit here and recap everything. So I'm going to have to pick up where we left off last time, and that was Adam and Eve being in the garden, and Satan has tricked them into doing something very deviant that involved being naked, and it was such a shameful act. They hid themselves and tried to cover their own nakedness. So we have Elohim coming to them and asking them what's happened, and they tell him that Satan has just convinced them into relationships that they was unaware. You have to keep in mind here, I don't know if I mentioned it when we was covering this stuff earlier, but the second day man creation, male and female, they was told to multiply and increase. But when we came to Adam and Eve, this wasn't told to them. They wasn't told to multiply and increase. But now, this is all part of his plan. The ability for Eve, I'm not going to go there. So, anyway, Elohim has just found out what's happened in here. So, he says, see who he's talking to here. He's talking to the woman. I don't know where we left off exactly last time, but Elohim said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" And the woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Remember, we're talking about a seed here, not fruit. And Yahweh Elohim said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you are more cursed than all the livestock and more than every beast in the field. On your abdomen you are to go and eat dust all the days of your life." Now, when he curses Hasatan, and because it says that he is a snake, and on your belly you will go. This is a metaphor. This is analogies. This is parables for you to understand that he's not an actual snake. It's just that he is the lowest creature that Elohim has ever made. He has fallen from the very high spot to the very lowest spot, as low as a snake's belly, deserving to breathe dust all the days of your life. That's how low of a created being you have fallen to. And he tells him also, "I will put enmity between you and the woman." This is hate. This is hostility between him and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. So he's going to put hate between these two things. Again, I can refer to Esau and Yaakov for an example of this hate between seeds. "And he shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel." And to the woman he said, "I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception." look, right here, he's going to increase her conception. You know what a conception is? I know. I shouldn't have to explain that. And bring forth children in pain, and your desire for your will be for your husband, and he rules over you. This is where she was taken from man, and this is the better half of man at this point now, because her desire is for man, and it won't be my cat's snoring. It won't be any different. It's the seed. The conception is here. This is after the deviant act. Yahweh, your Elohim, is sitting here telling her he's going to increase her conception. So she's already conceived, right? And to the man he said, because you have listened to your voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, do not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you, and in toil you are to eat of it all the days of your life, and it shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat of the plants of the field. And by the sweat of your brow you are to eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of the ground you were taken, and dust you are, and to dust you will return. This is telling the man that I'm going to punish you for what you've done, but your flesh is going to go back to the dust. It's going to die. In other words, you can be redeemed from this, but you must endure to the end, as we all must endure to the end. The troubles and tools of today might be a little different than Adam's, but there's still troubles and tools. You still have to endure unto the end, but there is a way to return. In all your rebellion, in the first earth age with the spirit world, and in this flesh earth age with this world, there is forgiveness if you return to the Father and really mean it and clear your heart. And the man called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Now, people think that all the races come from Adam and Eve because of this one line in this verse. And what you don't understand is these two, Adam and Eve together, through their seed, will bring forth the Messiah, which will bring all of Elohim's children together through this generational bloodline. And all who accept Yeshua and kneel to him as our King, as the perfect sacrificial lamb. No need for any other blood sacrifices. Don't go down them rabbit holes. This is the one and only sacrifice that will ever be again that pleases Yahweh. There is no other. But he is the Elohim of the living, not the dead. That is what this verse means, is because she's the mother of all living. Through her bloodline and through Yeshua, we all get to live, because he is our creator. And it is because of this that she's called the mother of all living. And of course, Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife, and he dressed them. And Elohim said, see, the man has come like one of us. Here we go again. We're talking to the heavenly host. We're talking to Yeshua. we're talking to angels. We're talking to those that helped in this creation period. And now that they've partook of good and evil, they have become like a god, because now they see that other desire. Man, I am running out of time. They see another desire, just as the angels in the first earth age seen, that, hey, we can do something else if we want to. We don't have to love this one creator. We can love his creation instead. They can't create, so they have to love the creation. They corrupt it, and they love the corruption because it makes them feel like creating, but they can't create. And now lest he put out his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever. Not only do they know that they could follow their own will and their own desire, but had they made their way back to Yeshua, they would have found forgiveness. So Elohim sent him out of the garden to till the ground in which he was taken, and he drove the man out, and he placed cherub at the east of the garden, and a flaming sword which turned every which way to the garden, and to guard the way of the tree of life. He did not want this flesh man making it to Yeshua to be forgiven at this point. And it's a message for all of us that you don't have to earn your salvation, but you have to work it out with fear and trembling. And that's what this is. And Yeshua's there. Now, he's taken away at this point, not to come back until he comes back as the Lamb. So he's taken away from man. Now we're going into Torah. Now we're going into the schoolmaster. Now we're going to learn what our rebellion brings. We're going to learn that the life force is in the blood, and Yeshua's blood is what we have to be after. And Torah will train us for this perfect Lamb. So don't miss that training and fall off into a rabbit hole and see something else to where you end up denying the renewed covenant. First, you'll start off with Paul, and then you'll start off with different books and corruption here and there, till you end up denying the whole book, the renewed covenant, and including Yeshua. You toss it all away, and you travel back to Torah, and you never leave that flesh world. You never see the spirit world. You only see the flesh, and you read this book fleshy and not spiritual, not understanding our land or even our King. So anyway, remember over here where we had the woman, and he said, I will greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. So we go over here, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain. Comma. You know what a comma is? A comma is a pause. So when you read this, you have to read Adam knew Eve, his wife, pause, comma, pause. And she conceived and bore Cain, pause, stops right there. She conceived, she conceived with Adam, okay? But you got to remember what happened in the garden with Hasatan. She conceived when Adam knew Eve, and she conceived, and she bore Cain, pause, and, okay, she bore Cain, and she said, I have gained a man from Yahweh. Okay? And again, she gave birth to his brother Abel. Again, she bore again. This is twins. And one twin, Cain, belonging to Hasatan, and the other twin belonging to Adam. She gave birth again. This isn't a different, separate time period. This is a pause in between births. And if you follow these other books that's found in the dirt, especially the ones not even mentioned in the scripture, and you think that Jubilees, I'm just going to say the book, it's not calling anybody out personally, but I'm going to tell you that you're in bad error thinking that Abel was born 7 years later. And you're in error thinking that these boys, these sons, are sitting here sexing up their sisters and populating the world. You're not getting all the races of people populated through this one couple. Scientifically impossible. Now what you're happening here is the birth of twins from two different fathers. This is called superfecundation. And this is where one woman is pregnant by twins with two different fathers. Now you might think I'm making this up, but go look it up yourself. Google it up and find out. You're going to find out two things, that this is possible. A woman can give birth to twins to two different fathers. And if you look deep enough, what else you're going to find out is one race of people cannot give birth to another race of people. Scientifically impossible. So I think I've just about used all my time up. And what I wanted to get to you is the corruption that happened in the garden and the bloodline that came from that corruption. And all through this book, that's exactly what you're taught. There is two bloodlines. There's the wheat and the tares. There's plenty of examples of two different things, is Esau and Yaakov. And you, even in Revelations, it tells you that this church is teaching a bad doctrine, this church is teaching a bad doctrine, this church, 5 times in Revelation, it tells us that and I'm going to turn there, I'm going to end this with that. It tells us in Revelation that only 2 churches, 2 out of all the churches, are teaching the correct doctrine. Everybody else is teaching a lie, and he's not happy about it. This is what he says to one church. The church that's teaching the good doctrine. I know your works and your pressure and your poverty, yet you are rich, and the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a congregation of Satan. Go to, that's Revelation 2:9. Flip it right over, go to Revelation 3:9. And it says, I know your works. See, I have put before you an open door that no one's able to shut it, and you have little power, yet you have guarded my word and not denied my name. See, I am giving up those of the congregation of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. This is the bloodline from Genesis. This book is complete from start to finish if you will read it and stop listening to the traditions of men. And when you know this bloodline, you know the true doctrine. When you know who the children of Satan are, then you know the true doctrine. Now, bloodline does not condemn you to eternity hell. Bloodline is this flesh. This flesh is going back to the dust. It's going back to the dirt. But you must cross over. That's where Abraham came in. That's his name. And it's what it means to be Hebrew, is the means to cross over just like he did and join yourself to the only covenant made with the children of Elohim. There's no other covenant. There's the covenant and there's the renewed of it. It's still the same covenant. And because you have guarded my word of endurance, remember, we're in this flesh body to endure to the end. We're being punished. We're being tested. Can you return? Do you want to return? Are you going to be distracted by this beautiful world? Are you going to fall in love with the creation and not the Creator? Because you have guarded my word of endurance, I also shall guard you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon all the world to try those who dwell on the earth. Listen to me, you're not flying away. You're twisting Paul to think you're flying away into some rapture. That's a lie. And I might give a video on that. I've already have, if you want in detailed, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. But I might do another one. But you must endure to the end. And he will protect you. But you're not going to fly away. He needs you here. That's why you're suited up as a soldier for these end times. Because it's only going to be those of us who have the doctrine. There's going to be a famine of the word. You're not going to be hearing it. There's only going to be very few that have it. And they're going to be stood up and prosecuted for it. And have to speak. Allowing the Ruach to speak through us. And he will keep us from trouble. It'll look bad. It'll look so bad, but he's got us in his hand and no one will snatch us out of it. We have a job to do. Are you up for it? Can you live it out? Can you return to him blameless? I know I'm out of time. I ran over. I hope you've enjoyed this little series of free-flowing scripture. I'm going to ask you once again if you would please hit like and subscribe. Give me a little bit of encouragement. And so I'll do some more of these videos if you find them interesting. I know I enjoy it. I enjoy spending my day in the Word from the time I get up to the time I go to bed. And I sure enjoy sharing what was given to me with you. All right. Thank you very much. Shalom.